1-on-1, never lost. Went to the finals, never lost.
You never got there, LeVar.
Who?
You.
I've been a 1-on-1 champ. Never lost 1-on-1.
All right.
Back at it again, it's the guy Spencer. You know what time it is. It's time for the top 10 most intriguing games from Week for East Texas. The bi-district edition. Yes, sir. We are into the playoffs, baby. It's the best time of the year. It's the second season. It's for all the marbles. 6 weeks left in the year. Every team is trying to vie to try to get to that state championship. A lot of East Texas teams in the playoffs. A lot of different games. Only could choose 10. These are the top 10 most intriguing games of the week. But, before we get into that, we got to recap last week with our top 10 players of the week from last week and our top 10 players of the week from last week. Starting this thing off at number 10 from last week is Garrett Flory from Van. He had 24 carries, 143 yards, and 4 touchdowns as Van got a crucial win over Bullard, 35-28, keeping the playoff hopes alive. I think Van finished third in district. With that 4-2 record. Flory, a defensive standout all year long. The last couple of weeks has been playing offense. Nothing flashy about it, but he's just a big old dude, man. And when he's running the football, it's hard to tackle him. 143 yards, 4 big scores, as he was pretty much the offense for Van in their 35-28 win over Bullard. And number 9, Akari Johnson from Pleasant Grove. 12 of 16 for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns and a 63-0 win over Spring Hill. Extremely efficient. Haven't talked about Akari all year. He's a great football player. They killed Spring Hill, as almost everybody did this year, but very efficient with the football. And he's going to look to see what he can do this week because he's also got a huge playoff game as well. At number 8 is Colin Lewis of Gladewater. He had a rushing touchdown, an interception, and a 65-yard punt return touchdown as they needed every point to beat White Oak 41-35, and Gladewater is going to sneak into the playoffs after a huge performance from their senior, Colin Lewis. At number 7, J.Q. Davids of Marshall, 30 carries, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a beatdown in the upset of the week, 42-17 win over Whitehouse. And this is kind of who we thought Marshall was going to be all year long. They're physical. They can make you turn it down. And at a 42-17 win, they definitely made Whitehouse turn it down. Whitehouse loses a chance to be the district champions as they gave themselves a shot by beating Texas High on the road. At home, though, they lose to Marshall. Kind of sad, and they kind of drop from first place all the way down to 4th. As Texas High is the winner of the district, Marshall goes to 2nd, and Whitehouse is now the 4th seed behind HALLSVILLE. How crazy is that? At number 6, Major McBride of Pottsboro. I hadn't talked about this kid all year long, but he had a huge game as Pottsboro did the thing to win district this year. They beat WINNSBORO, and then they come back and they smack Mount Vernon. Of course, Mount Vernon without their starting senior quarterback, Braden Bennett, and only Makenzie McGill and Chayton Horton out there trying to do everything on offense. Mount Vernon just overwhelmed, mainly because the best player on the field, not only is he their running back, but also a safety as well. Major McBride just goes off, 24 carries, 192 yards, and he's going to lead Pottsboro, the district champions, into the playoffs. And Pottsboro is a great program. They've won playoff games in the last 2 years, and they've got a good junior tailback that they can ride. Let's see how far Pottsboro goes this year. At number 5, Jace Mosley, HALLSVILLE, 12 of 20. 160 yards, and then he has 14 carries, 153 yards, and 3 more touchdowns. 4 touchdowns total for Jace. Y'all know how I feel about Jace Mosley. He's been Superman for HALLSVILLE all year long. He's been the offense. Not only is he an efficient, accurate thrower of the football, but he's also a fast, explosive runner that can run through the tackles and is willing to run through the tackles. HALLSVILLE's got a great matchup. We'll talk about that later. But it's been a great year, a great regular season for HALLSVILLE. I think they finished 8-2 this year, which is pretty freaking good for HALLSVILLE. Didn't have those kind of expectations for them coming in. Playoff time now. Here we go. At number 4, Cole Watson, TATUM, 65 passing yards, 15 carries, 206 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also came back with 11 tackles, 2 for loss, and 1.5 sacks at linebacker. As TATUM, who I thought would lose this game to Atlanta, wins 63-27. Big. TATUM, I think, is now in the 3rd place. Yeah, they're 3rd place. And they're getting ready to face Mount Vernon. It's going to be a very interesting game. For that game, we'll talk about it later. But great game from Cole Watson this past week. And number 3, Makenzie McGill. 18 carries, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 28-47 loss to Pottsboro. The guy's just really a good football player. If they had Braden Bennett, they could be way more balanced, and he wouldn't have to try to be Superman every single week. But he's already the career rushing leader over there at Mount Vernon. He's got over 4,000 yards in his career. He's just a really good football player and had a good week against Pottsboro, even though they lost. At number 2, Terry Bussey from Timpson, a passing touchdown, 13 carries, 230 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. He had an 80-yard kick return for a touchdown. He also had an interception on defense to seal the game, as Timpson finally plays a close game. 44-38, a win over Garrison. So good for Timpson. We'll talk. They've been blowing out opponents bigger than them all year long, especially in the non-district. They've coasted through district. Finally, they get a test out of Garrison, which is good for them going into the playoffs. And of course, it's great to see your best player show up in the biggest moments with Timpson with the game-sealing interception. At number 1 is Rickey Stewart from Chapel Hill. Game of the week, Chapel Hill and Kilgore. Historic matchup from last year. They had a great rivalry, 2 games last year. Chapel Hill winning in the playoffs, Kilgore winning the regular season. This year, Chapel Hill wins in the regular season behind a monster performance from Rickey Stewart. 18 carries, 222 yards, 3 tugs, and a 32-20 win over Kilgore. Very physical football game. They didn't try to air it out against Kilgore. They just said, we're going to line up and give it to Rickey Stewart, who has had 3 or 4 incredible weeks in a row. And he's getting hot right before the playoffs, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're a Chapel Hill Bulldog fan. So at number 1, Rickey Stewart. So let's not waste any time. The top 10 plays of the week. At number 10, it is Colin Lewis of Gladewater. He's going to catch this punt return against White Oak. Deep hit, catches it, gets down the sideline, gets a couple of blocks, and that's how those things work. All the way to the crib, touchdown, Lewis. Here we go. At number 9 is Major McBride. He comes in, takes the Wildcat snap, veers to his right, then cuts back to his left, and you know what time it is. Touchdown, Pottsboro. At number 8 is Terry Bussey. Here's that 80-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Look at him. Finds a good hole, gets through the block, and then just explodes out of it. Leaves Garrison in the dust. 2 fingers up, touchdown. Number 7, Cole Watson. It's a 55-yard touchdown run as he weaves in and out against Atlanta. That guy can run the football, man. He is a football player, and he's one of my favorites to cover all year, Cole Watson. At number 6, Chase Mosley. Catches this ball, fakes the bubble, looks out there, and he's running the counter right up A-gap all the way into the end zone against Mount Pleasant in their big win this past week. At number 5 is Willie Nelson, a 90 what, 7? 90, no, not 96, probably like 92-yard punt return touchdown there as he just gets down the sideline, makes it real easy against West Mesquite. Gets this dumb block here at the end. I'm glad they didn't throw a flag on it. Anyway, touchdown, Longview. At number 4, it is Aaron Hampton, this time from Chase Johnson. Catches this ball, 1-2 miss, 3 missed tackles, 4 missed tackles, cuts through the last 2. I mean, that dude is insane as they beat up on Harmony, I believe. Here's Rickey Stewart, the number 3 play, just takes that simple little zone, reads his block by Keevan Huddleston, and walks that distance. Touchdown, Chapel Hill. At number 2, it's Terry Bussey. Again, look at him. Great block from the lead back right there, and then he's just going to explode through the hole and go 80 yards for a touchdown there for Timpson. And the number 1 play from last week to me is Makenzie McGill. Look at him. Runs through 2 tackles. That's 3 missed tackles. That's 4 missed tackles. and there's a stiffy. There's 5 missed tackles into the end zone. A great play there from Makenzie McGill. So let's get into it. Top 10 games of the week. At number 10 is WINNSBORO at Atlanta. Hadn't talked much about WINNSBORO after they lost their game against Pottsboro, but they hadn't lost anymore this year. They really gave up a win there. They should be undefeated. They should be the 10-0 district champs right now. But unfortunately, they lost. Well, for them anyway, they lost to Pottsboro, and they got Atlanta. They draw Atlanta here in the first round. WINNSBORO is explosive. Kyler Finney has been incredible all year long. Atlanta's coming off a 63-27 loss to TATUM. I believe that WINNSBORO is the better team in this game, and I think WINNSBORO is going to win, possibly big here in the first round, try to jumpstart that playoff run hot. Expect a big game from Kyler Finney, both throwing the ball and running the ball for WINNSBORO. Just do or die time. It's nothing to hold back anymore. So give me the Red Raiders here against Atlanta in Game 10. At Game 9, it's TATUM and Mount Vernon. And this is going to be quite interesting because TATUM and Coach Keeling, of course, this is his first year, but Keeling is a very good football coach and is used to going deep in the playoffs with Wascom. They have an incredible system in their triple option that they run to perfection, especially with Cole Watson being the signal caller and the guy that makes all the right reads in the option game. They've got weapons in Carson Gonzalez, Braden Mims, Luke Sigler. But on the other side of it, maybe the best running back in East Texas in Mount Vernon, Makenzie McGill. You know, what he's done the last 2 years for Mount Vernon has been incredible, and he's going to try to, finish his senior year off with a bang, try to show everybody who he is and what he's about. I think I'm going with TATUM in this game, but I would not be surprised if Mount Vernon won this game in any kind of fashion. Big, small, a couple of touchdowns, either way. I think Tatum's going to win, but I just wouldn't be surprised if Mount Vernon showed up to play football. So at number 9, give me TATUM, but I like their chance against Mount Vernon. At number 8, it's Jefferson and MINEOLA. Luke McMillan versus Dawson Pendergrass. 2 great running backs out here in East Texas. McMillan started the year at receiver. During the year, they moved him to running back, and the boy has been running by everybody. He had over 300 yards last week against the Bean and a 70-yard touchdown to start the show off. But, of course, you're playing the best player on the field in MINEOLA's Baylor commit, Dawson Pendergrass, who plays quarterback for them. He's going to run the ball 30-plus times tonight. He's trying to go for over 300. He's going to try to score 4 or 5 touchdowns. This is the district champion, Jefferson, taking the Bulldogs, taking on MINEOLA, who finished 4th place in their district. But anytime you got the best player on the field, you got a chance, and Dawson is the best player on the field. Give me the Bulldogs in this one, but expect Dawson Pendergrass to go down fighting. Trust me. At number 7, Center versus LE. Same record, 7-3. 2 tough districts. Center plays, they should probably be a first or second place team, but they play in a district with Carthage, and they're going to win every time. Carthage is a machine, and they just absolutely whooped Center this year. LE, on the other hand, their district, I don't think is as strong as Center's district. I do think LE plays pretty good defense. I do like their quarterback, Jaden Hampton, but I believe the Rough Riders are just way too explosive to be limited here in this game. Cross, the quarterback, Evans, the receiver, Caden Dixon, the running back. Yeah, I just think there's way too much talent over there on Center side of the ball for them to lose this game. So I'm going with Center over LE, but I do like Jaden Hampton. I do like watching that guy play. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I'm rolling with the Rough Riders. At number 6 is Pleasant Grove and Van. Pleasant Grove, not very explosive this year. They haven't really just, tipped the scales in the scoring this year. They do play great defense, though, led by Caden McFadden over there on the defensive side of the ball. They do have weapons, and their running back, the junior this year, his name slips me. I can't believe I forgot his name like that, but a great running back in number 15. I also have the great running back in Spencer Danner. Akari Johnson had a great efficient game against Spring Hill going into the playoffs, but they're facing Van. And Van is kind of just, they're rolling with their best players. Bo Barton and both Garrett Flory. Not only do they play a lot of defense, and are they the heart and soul of the defense of Van, but they've also been playing a little tailback here too as they struggle on offense. You lose Jackson Rainey, and it's kind of hard to replace that guy. And Van really hasn't done it all year long, but they have played good defense, and they are willing to play a physical smash mouth style on offense, which is pretty much who Pleasant Grove is. So it's a pretty much similar style. Give me Pleasant Grove. They got all the weapons. They're a little more older on offense, a little more experienced on offense, and so I believe that Pleasant Grove will get by Van this week and continue their playoff hunt. At number 5, Kilgore versus Little Cypress, MAURIECVILLE. Don't know much about LCM. I do know about Kilgore, and I do know about Isaiah Ross. They're coming off of a loss to Chapel Hill, the first loss that they had in over like 2 months. They still playing good football. They played a very good team in Chapel Hill who they've been scoring over 50 for like the last 5 weeks. They limited them to just 30 points. So Kilgore does play defense. I think Kilgore is physical. Demarion Van Sant makes good decisions. He hasn't been the explosive quarterback that I thought we were going to get this year, but he does make good decisions, and he is a guy that I trust into the playoffs, especially with a workhorse like Isaiah Ross running behind him. Give me Kilgore in this one. Because I don't know too much about LCM, but I do believe in those Bulldogs, and I believe they will bounce back here in the bi-district crown. At number 4, Melissa versus HALLSVILLE. Melissa has this freak named Kennedy Brantley. He's 6'5", he's 215 pounds, and he's a wide receiver. That's in picture there. HALLSVILLE has Superman over there and Jace Mosley. It's once again, I don't know much about Melissa. They're not from East Texas. I hadn't covered them all year. I do know about HALLSVILLE, though. HALLSVILLE will run the football. They will use Jace Mosley to run the football. They got a good running back in Blade Bullard, who also can tote it. Great receivers in Goza and Miller on the outside. Don't know much about HALLSVILLE defensively. It's a shame. It's been 11 weeks, and I really hadn't said too much about the defense. It's been all about their offense. But that's what wins games in high school football. Defense wins championships. You got to play good defense in order to win that thing. But offense scores points, and points are going to be needed in this one. Jace is going to have to play incredible. I'm not ready to see this HALLSVILLE Bobcat season end, so I'm picking the Bobcats right here. Hopefully we get another 2, 3, 4, 5 games out of HALLSVILLE's Jace Mosley, see how good he is. But, yeah, this will be a great test. It's a good season, good regular season for the Bobcats, but I believe they're a little bit hungry, and I think they want more. Give me the Bobcats here in Game 4. At number 3 is LOVEJOY versus Whitehouse. Now, LOVEJOY, a great program, a team that's made deep playoff runs. Whitehouse, a team that went from getting the number 1 seed in the district, playing a home playoff game, to now going on the road to play LOVEJOY as the 4th-place seeding team after they lost to Marshall last week. And do they have a hangover from that? We've seen it before out of Whitehouse. Nacogdoches came and they beat the tar out of them, and then Marshall comes and beats the tar out of them after they just played phenomenal all year long. Can they go back to those 8 games where they played phenomenal? The weapons are there. Gerard McCoy, the Carlton Wilson, Josh Green at quarterback, the runner and thrower. They've got the weapons to make it happen. But what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to stop LOVEJOY? Don't know much about LOVEJOY. I just know they're an incredible program and that they will and they're going to be ready to come and play. They won their district, and so there's so many good football teams. But I'm not counting Whitehouse out. They've got too many good weapons. They've played too good football all year long to just let it all in right here. Give me the Wildcats. Avenge yourselves from last week. At number 2, Crandall versus Marshall. Led by Chris Abram, the running back from Crandall, who's had a great year. Marshall, of course, Marshall's kind of been hot and cold all year, but they're coming into the playoffs hot behind J.Q. Davis. A lot is going on over there in Marshall this year. A lot of good players, and a lot of not there for the Marshall Mavericks this year, but you know who is there? It's J.Q. Davis, Bird Robinson. Those two have been standouts all year long. They bought into the system. They played hard for Coach Alvarez and the Marshall Mavericks, and they're going to get a chance to play Crandall here in the playoffs. I don't know who's going to win this game. I'm probably going with Crandall, to be honest with you. I don't know how good, Marshall's going to play defensively, but they shut out Whitehouse last week. So, I mean, not shut out, but 42-17. That's crazy. They're obviously playing some hot defense coming into this game, but I think this is the one East Texas matchup that I don't feel great about. I'm going to go with Crandall here versus Marshall. And at number 1, the game of the week is Gilmer and Rusk. And Rusk finishes 4-2 in their district, but because you've got 3 teams that finish 4-2, Center, Van, and Rusk, they unfortunately lose the point differential in the 4th seed, and they've got to take on the juggernaut in the Gilmer Buckeyes. And if you're Rusk, you know, what do you have to lose? You came into the playoffs as the 4th seed. You're still very talented with Aiden McCowan, Treywick out there at wide receiver. Another wide receiver in, what's that boy's name? Number 13. He's really good, really fast. Had a great Elijah Ward, yeah. So they got the weapons out there in Rusk to make it happen. They kind of shat the bed the last time they played a team of this caliber in Carthage, and they just destroyed them. Gilmer, I don't think it's Carthage, though. I'm not saying that Gilmer's vulnerable. I just don't think that they're Carthage. This is kind of not what the Gilmer Buckeyes are really looking forward to. You were hoping winning, going 9-0 and winning district that you would, get a worse 4 seed than what they got matched up with. This is an upset alert. I'm sorry. This is an upset alert, and I think the Buckeyes will take care of business here. But this will be the best game of the night for sure. And I think Rusk will score points. I think Gilmer will score points. I think the Buckeyes will win at the end. But I do expect this to be a very, very interesting matchup in a game that should be very intriguing. So those are the top 10 most intriguing games of the week for this bi-district round. It is playoff season. I am excited if you can't tell. Let's do this right here. Hey, East Texas, let's go and win these ball games. Let's see how many teams we can have in Jerrysville this year in 6 weeks. Like that.